or decreasing. Those are things you have to look at in order to grade the government in terms of the economic system, whether the government is really progressive in the economic system. When you look at political stability that I talk about, we know the government is not making significant impact in terms of political stability. Because if we look at the number of deaths across the country, or we look at the number of political situations that are happening at the national legislature, trying to remove
we will come to that. It's part of our conversation.
So just to give you a little glimpse of what the government has been doing over the period of time. I mean, there are some progress made, and there are some failures that we need to look at.
Exactly.
That the government is not moving forward.
So that means like you simply parallel with what Madam Kokwe said. There's a 50-50.
We are a little bit different in the sense that the government is we don't need to give the government 5,000 years before the government produce. I heard Madam Kokwe saying that the government have to. I mean, it is too soon, too earlier. But I think it's not too soon. Within the whole 1 year, the government operated, and the government operated her own budget, recast her own budget. And I think the government should have done better, than what we're seeing here. But like you said, there are some little, challenge. There are some little progress made, and we hope after the president's Sona address, we will see better improvement in the entire sectors of the country.
That is his perspective on the government's progress. Let's go to Mr. Keita. Mr. Keita, you heard the two panelists talk about what they think the government is actually doing within the schools and the cycles of a year. What could be your analysis? We're not talking about grade, like Madam Kokwe said. The government is trying, but there are other lapses. Mr. Ofale said the government is trying, but he expects more than what he's seeing. What says that?
Well, excuse me. The thing is, when it comes to government and governance, what is being illustrated by the government, if we are sincere in our analysis and independent void of prejudice and subjectivity, analysis will always be similar, as a matter of fact. That is, it is void of prejudice. I will also agree with the madam when it comes to evaluating the government. I think every institution that one enters, even if you're given an office job, when you enter that office, it will take you some time to balance. And after your balance, you will start to see loopholes. The longer you stay, the more you become open to the system, as a matter of fact. So with this government, as a matter of fact, there are a lot of good things they have been doing, and there are some lapses in some places, as a matter of fact, if you carry on your evaluation as to the time they have spent. The first thing I observed, and I really loved what the government was doing, had to do with when we had multiplicity of people in government, who some were taking pay practically by the way of telephone, and then people were not being seen at workplaces, but yet they were taking pay. We saw those things happening here, as a matter of fact. And I must extend thanks and appreciation to Josiah Jokai, because it was not easy. Even the Capitol building went against him, as a matter of fact. At some point in time, they gave him names, but he remained consistent, and he fought high in making sure that the goal was met. Those people that are working should be seen, and they should be the legitimate people working in government, as a matter of fact. Because what we've observed over the years, as a matter of fact, when you see government officials, you see people working in government, after a budget is crafted, when you look, almost every cent that will be generated by the Liberia Revenue Authority will go back on salaries, and nothing much will be left to go for development, the rest of it. So those things were serving as an impediment for the success of this country. So we needed to have a sizable government where people that will be working will be getting paid that will commensurate with their profession or their technical know-how or their education, as a matter of fact. That would have brought some level of cash being in the reserve for development purposes. All right. And then there are a lot of areas that are some lapses, as a matter of fact. Like for example, we need to look at those areas, and I know we would not evaluate them right now because it is early. I think they are putting themselves in order. I will start grading this government, like I said, when this year we ends. Then I start to carry on the evaluation. But I want to believe that strongly they are working hard in some places. There are lapses in other places. And one thing I think the government will have to avoid, I've not gone substantively into the investigation, or I've not carried on my own investigation as to what has been hurt, people being removed from positions and other members of the party being placed there. There are strategic areas in government, as a matter of fact, that it is important that when your government takes over, you must have those strategic people in place in order to have your government effective and efficient. And those places are no caution, but let it not be holistic. And I hope what we are hearing there is not the reality, as a matter of fact. So other areas I think the government need to look at seriously in their second year has to do with the very health sector that my brother talked about. Finally, I'll be an advocate when it comes to medication in this place.
Okay.
Most of our government officials, most of our lawmakers, and the rest of them, when they are sick in this place, what to do? They leave this country, go other places to even do tests and take their treatment. And I think Liberia, from the time Liberia was funded several years back, you will still have the one JFK here. We still have this one redemption. Other hospitals that are coming in, no medication. I think that's one of the worst things for any country.
So, in your perspective, there are progresses and there are lapses the government needs to work on.
Precisely. There are lapses. There are some progress made in some places.
Okay.
So I think those are areas that the government need to look at very seriously in order to have the Liberian people relax. As a matter of fact,
All right.
The health sector. And I want you don't want.
All right, Mr. Keita. All right, let's get back to Madam Kwekwe. Madam Kwekwe, let's look at every institution, every government is being pressured by the opposition. The Unity Party pressured the CDC, and this same Unity Party needs to be pressured by the opposition. Do you think? You people are diplomats. Maybe you don't want to be crying out loud in the first year. Do you think we have a sleeping opposition community, or do you think the opposition wants to give the government, a breathing space before they start the regular political criticisms?
Thank you. Like I said again, I said for the purpose of me being realistic, me being balance, I have removed my political cap and sitting as any Liberian citizen who will think how things should be. So what I'm saying is, when we say pressure, I do not want to look at it to say pressure, but yes, we need to hold the government feet to its fire, to the fire, so that they perform. Because when a government takes over, it is about the well-being of the people that they serve. So yes, the last opposition was keeping President Weah's government feet to the fire, and they couldn't listen to us. I can tell anybody, when people criticize you, it is do not take it in good faith and improve. President Weah didn't listen to us when we're telling him what to do, especially when the ANC used to come up with statement. And that I like about Mr. Alexander B. Cummings. He will talk and he will make recommendations. Whenever he speaks, he makes recommendations. But people didn't listen to us. So I believe the opposition is still giving President Boakai some time. You may see this year maybe within the first quarter or the next quarter, you may see some political actions coming up if the government is not on the right path. You could see that as I am analyzing as an individual, not as somebody from a political party. You know, in every country, every society, every community, every sector, once we agree to abide by certain law, we need to follow it. If you don't follow it, that group will fall. So I am the chairperson of a Village Saving Loan Association. I'm the chairperson. We have a constitution, and our constitution is clear that if you don't ask the chairperson for an excuse to come to a meeting, you will pay $5. If you ask for excuse, we call it a good excuse. If you ask for excuse, you will pay $500. We all agree to it. It's like monitoring. Anything you're monitoring, once we say we will scratch our hair this way, we all need to scratch our hair this way. Other people should not be scratching their hair the other way. So we can talk about all of the good things. We can talk. Like, for example, my brother talked about the education sector, right? Yeah, some good things are happening. We are hearing it from the national level. But if you work in an NGO sector like me, who goes to the fee, go to communities, you see that we have lots and lots more to do. And this is why even my last appearances I used to do, I always told the we are led government, and I was saying it every year before we go into budgeting, doing our budget for the year. I will tell people that once we are developing our budget from the national level to the community level, it will not make impact into the lives of the people. When you develop the national budget from the community level, the bottom top approach, then you have developed a realistic budget because it affects everybody in the communities. So what I'm saying here, you can have all of the good. I just wanted to say a little bit about what he's saying, because when you go to those communities, I can be giving scholarship, and then I go tell people, say, I'm giving scholarship to students. Me, particularly, I giving scholarship to AMEU students. The reason students go to AMEU is because they have the money to go to private schools, right? I just say something like that. But people who go to the University of Liberia are people who cannot afford.
Practically cannot afford.
So when you want more people in school, it means that you need to focus on more people going to the University of Liberia, because if you don't have the money and you want more people in school, then you will focus.
That is, you got to improve the facility.
Exactly. So I was just saying some of those things.
Exactly.
The University of Liberia being done for
almost 7 to 8 months.
Yes. So how is the education sector, improved that we talking about just right here, University of Liberia, just opened this week. Yeah. School started this week. I mean, I'm there. I'm doing a master's program.
So you mean?
So I'm yeah. So what I'm saying, we can do all of the beautiful things. What brings a country down or a society down or any sector is the violation of the rule of law.
It's the breakdown of the rule of law.
Once you violate the rule of law, it means you are bringing the entire society down. So rule of law, and I'm happy that this is part of the arrest, the arrest agenda. One of the area is rule of law. And we need to focus on this.
All right.
Once there is lawlessness, just today, I saw in a chat room, the female chat room, we have the Liberian women chat room. I saw in one of those chat rooms, a child came from school, can change her clothes.
The 15-year-old girl.
And they found her body somewhere. You see people go about burning magistrates, burning police station, beating putting on motorcyclists because look, even in a home, when you see your mom every day, she get up, she take her bed, she go, she come back the next morning. The children will follow suit, right?
In disciplined homes.
Yeah,
And all of these
the
different-
children will follow suit. So if we have at the national level the violation of our constitution, our rules that govern our country, that means we're not doing anything.
Okay.
Because people do it and nothing come all of. So the other people in the communities, they do it because nothing comes.
So that's why we're asking for the perspective. Do you think we have a critical? You think we have a critical opposition community, to criticize this government? Because we're coming to Mr. Mr. Fale now.
For example,
yeah,
I know that.
Do we have a critical opposition now?
I don't want to talk about other political parties.
Mm-hmm.
And you keep
you in the CPP have not been speaking.
The CPP
ANC has not been speaking.
No, you can't say that. If you say that, I will forward to you a lot of press statements.
Yeah, dissolve, man.
The press statements. This is a panel discussion. This is not a debate between political parties.
Yeah, you're not speaking.
Let's discuss the issue. So one, we all know that the CPP was established with a clear mandate
in a minute now,
and a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
We say after 6 months, after election, after 6 months, we will either decide to remain CPP or dissolve CPP.
Are you still CPP?
Yeah. So, but we had a ceremony. I don't know why people are making it to be a news. This is not news today. We had a ceremony. And CPP has been dissolved. In my opening statement, I told you how
so even the ANC
is recalibrating. So if ANC is recalibrating, this automatically means that there is no CPP.
So you guys have been speaking.
But
have
ANC,
you been speaking?
ANC has been speaking.
All right. Because we're concerned about the silence of the political leader.
No, listen, and this is what I want people to understand. You keep dragging me now into the political thing.
Yeah, but the political thing comes. So let's hurry up and get to mixed up.
And it's good.
Yeah.
This is what I keep telling people. You cannot continue to say we are not hearing Victoria's voice. We are not hearing Kumise's voice. You are hearing from the party. It means it is me. I'm speaking through my party. If I don't agree, if Mr. Kumi doesn't agree, the party will now just put up a statement like that.
All right.
So once the party is putting up statement,
Mr.
Kumi is
all of the embodiments.
With this 10 seconds.
Okay.
You want Mr. Kumi to start speaking. The last 4 or 5 years, Mr. Kumi was the loudest political leader in this country. The loudest holding President Weah's government to its feet. The loudest in this country. What happened? So you want him to start talking again soon? So
let him talk. Let's get him
talk. But he has to also look at it.
So you're observing the political terrain.
The political terrain.
Let's get to Mr. Fale. Mr. Fale, do we have a robust opposition community that is
opposition?
No, the EFF, they are opposition. They in the collaboration, they are opposition. We know that the ruling party is the unity party.
Political opposition party say, "Oh man, they men are opposition."
But you just tell her that you guys are dissolved.
No, but
I think you told us that there's a panel discussion.
Oh yeah, no, but I just wanted you to say it too, so that next time you do it.
You have to understand.
I mean, I will pay him at there.
Yeah, you have to understand.
So, Mr. Fale,
I will pay him at there.
Do we have a kind of robust opposition to criticize the government, like you see from your political perspective?
We have a very good, robust opposition political parties, but the issue is whether they got something substantial to talk about.
Okay.
So you can be a good security at the gate, but whether there are criminals coming in for you to perform your security work. So if there are good, substantive issues to discuss in the opposition, then the opposition will talk. But I just want to be clear that the president ran on an agenda called arrest. And then he talked about roads. He talked about security. He talked about sanitation. He talked about agriculture. And if the president is directly involving and making sure that his agenda is way ahead in terms of implementing then I don't know where the opposition will start to talk about. So therefore, for typical example, the president talk about roads. Are we not engaging in roads rehabilitation and road construction across the country? The president talk about agriculture. Is the president a few months ago that launched the agriculture agenda of the country? Are we not talking? I mean, the madam talk about the opposition is opposition. The ANC is a robust political institution. I don't want to dive into being talk about political parties here, but what we are saying is that no, you have been following me for quite a long time, Washington. When it is wrong, I would say it is wrong. I mean, she spoke about political stability in terms of rule of law and what have you. Yes, the government is a little bit, finding the difficulties in handling that. But in terms of what the opposition should have something to discuss first.
So you mean that they don't have
something to discuss about?
So you mean everything is right?
The government
is everything right in the country?
The government is making significant strides in agriculture.
Is everything right in this country? No, but you got to be objective.
When we say,
so because the fact people are not speaking.
Were you not here when President Barker ran on a arrest agenda? And can you tell me exactly what the arrest agenda is about? It's about agriculture. Is the president now meeting up with a commitment?
The arrest agenda is about agriculture. Rule of law. Do we have absolute rule of law in this country?
I just told you that the government is facing challenges.
But then don't say the opposition can speak.
The government is making progress. The government is making progress. I told you that there's no substantive issues for opposition to be robust about. So that's what I said.
But that means does that mean the government is smiling on
does that mean there are no other issues that in
so they're not substantive now?
Not substantive. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what you say.
So there are issues. The government is meeting up to its requirement. The President Barker ran on roads. We want to rehabilitate and build roads. More roads in the rural land, more roads to capital, more roads in the community. The president ran about that, and you know that the president is undertaking the initiatives.
No, I don't know.
But you are a journalist. I'm
not a superhuman.
You are a journalist. When you're talking about when it comes to sanitation, my dear brother and the rest of the panelists they can attest to it in terms of sanitation across
sanitation where you have dirt all in the streets.
Where right? when you say we have dirt in the street,
I disagree.
When you have, I think you have to allow me to.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Fahim.
You will come. I know for the ANC you always disagree. I mean the ANC have been disagreeing across here, and that's the reason why we
go ahead.
Now the issue about sanitation. I mean with the minimum resources that the MCC is receiving.
Go ahead.
The minimum resources that the MCC is receiving, and then she's making significant impact in terms of the sanitation. In terms of the rule of law, I admitted that there are challenges. There are some challenges in the rule of law. But the issue about the president making significant progress on his agenda, that he ran on, I mean, the president is making significant impact. Why is it if the president is not making significant impact? Why do we have a very cool opposition?
Yeah, because all of you have been incorporated to work with the government, so you can't speak.
We support.
You have to speak for the government.
We support. I told you here. I'm not here to.
You were the EFF.
No, I told you I'm not here to speak on
behalf of the EFF.
I told you I'm not here to speak on behalf of the EFF.
And your boss man is with the government.
I told you I'm not here to speak. You talking for almost 5 minutes. So I think you're learning.
It's a time. You will soon be learning.
Yeah, so you're talking for almost 5 minutes. You talk about the ANC, the ANC, not talking.
No, I'm talking to the moderator.
So what we are saying here, madam.
Yeah, let's go.
Madam.
Yeah.
What we are saying here is that the government is making significant strides. We all agree here on the table that there are some challenges that the government trying to be decisive. If a president, the past government, when there are issues, especially with the LDA, President Barker to decisive decision to restore calm in the LDA.
After 4 months.
After 500 months.
Investigation is not even, it's a process.
All right, no problem.
It's a process. When Louis Brown, the rest of
so all of the different analysis given.
When Louis Brown, the three Hebrew brothers, talk about the working for who, campaign that they had, that money got missing. Mr. Kumi took almost 3 months to investigate that. Up to now, we are not getting that. So when the president is coming up with a decision, he doesn't just come up with a hasty decision. The government has a system.
Okay.
The government will investigate. The government investigated and made disaster decision.
All
We're
right.
talking about president who will make disaster decision, and those decisions are in the best interest of
So
the people.
this president is making decisive decision. That is the reason why the opposition community is quiet. In the words of Patrick Sikofale, let's get to you. What kind of opposition do we have, Mr. Keita?
Thank you very much. Firstly, I would like to tell you clearly that it is practically impossible for you to distinct between an affiliate of the ruling party and that of the associated party, as a matter of fact. You understand?
Okay.
And no matter how you try to avoid being signaled up, it will practically be difficult, if not impossible. And that's why I see being illustrated here by Mr. Fale. I think he tried to take off the jacket, the political jacket, and he was speaking as an independent person. But it is just impossible. Once that jacket is on you, it's on you. as a matter of fact.
I don't believe in his story.
I
I don't believe in his analysis.
I want to squarely disagree with my brother when he said the government is doing much in his word,
Okay.
and that's why there is nothing for the opposition to talk about. You understand what I'm saying? Times are changing. The issue, the way of engaging government is different. There are more mature opposition political party. Their way of handling issues is just quite different. Like for us, for example, if one does right, we speak about it, and if you are even going wrong, the approach. For me, I'm an advocate. What I do is that we place it in a way that the government will be propped up in order to come with an optimal results. Because once the result become optimal, holistically, Liberian people will benefit from it. But you cannot sit on the media here and be emphatic about that, very, very boisterous about it, and say, well, nothing substantive to be discussed, and this is why the opposition are not speaking. Maybe the tone that this opposition is speaking in is quite different from the normal tone, where people will be very assertive, they will be boisterous, and you see pomposity going all around the place here. So I think that the best thing we can do is that to engage the government where they get lapses. For me, I have always said that, because Liberia today is worse than 30 years ago. I'm telling you, in terms of development, in terms of physical appearance, in terms of cleanliness, like 30 years ago, Liberia is better than today. As a matter of fact, we were here. You understand me? Some of us are a little over 50 years now. Okay, so we know exactly what's been transpiring around here in this country. So we observed that this government is new. We continue to say it's new, and if we want to be sincere, we speak of prejudice and subjectivity, we should discuss the issue as to how we can come with a rule and recommendation for this government to follow. And that's what I think we've been doing here in this light, as a matter of fact. But I think there are lapses. Like, for example, you asked one square question whether the rule of law was in place. I think he alluded to that indeed there are
some problem
there are problems in the rule of law.
No, you don't have to give me.
You understand? There are problems in the rule of law. There are some impediment in the rule of law, and all we can do is that to recommend to this government to try to improve on the rule of law. Because I tell you what, the rule of law is very important to the Liberian people, because
it's important to our nation.
Yeah. Now I'm speaking in the Liberia scenario, of course, because what happens is that Liberia is lagging behind. Trust me, Liberia used to be like small America.
You have 1 minute.
Why would you be giving me short time, as a matter of fact?
Yeah.
You understand me? So I think
we should have started the interview 3 o'clock.
I think in this light, Liberia now, what we can do, because we're lacking behind, we will have to be more professional in our presentations. We should be able to present and show lapses and come with a recommendation. That's what we should be doing. But then opposition, that's speaking the way people anticipate or expect, does not really mean that all is well, as a matter of fact. But notwithstanding, there are areas, there are key areas that the government have touched, and I think we prep them in those areas. So here, we all need to be frank and fair to ourselves to know that indeed this government is progressing some areas. There are some areas
significantly.
No, you don't have to say significantly.
There are some areas that there are lapses. And trust me, what I don't do, I tell you what, 2011, when I contested in this something, like the party he comes from, before going to the ALP, I told you we organized that party. We brought it. I served as the first deputy secretary general for mobilization, recruitment, and membership, and I also served as a task force chairman to structure the country. You understand? So our tune yesterday when we went there is quite different from today. So I think the best thing now we can do is to not come with be very defensive, as a matter of fact, because we want to show that everything is well, or we can defend the government. And I like the way he started, but the way he's going, it's like begging almost everybody to speak to.
All right. So let's. It's not about sincerity. It's about opinion. So it is his opinion.
But he said something here that we need to look at. He has agreed with me in some instances that, I mean, he said 30 years ago, Liberia is better than today. Was better than today. That is not something that we should look at. Because 30 years ago, 30 years ago, how Liberia was. And so for you to compare 30
years ago, Mr. Farley, He's speaking in a capacity in a position. Probably 30 years ago, the rule of law was here. 30 years ago, we had good infrastructure development.
Right.
Here. We burned all of them down during the war because of corruption. 30 years ago, people were prosecuted for corruption.
You are not a panelist.
No, you
are not a panelist.
I am part of the conversation.
You started speaking from somewhere before.
I am part of the conversation.
So he started speaking from somewhere.
The reason
he started speaking from somewhere.
He wants to get something clear.
You have 10 seconds.
Yeah, let me.
You started speaking from somewhere.
We need to go to the next issue. You have 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Like I said,
I will come back to you. You have 10 seconds.
Mr. Farley, like I said,
you have 10 seconds.
When I say Liberia 30 years ago better than today, that's what I mean. Liberia 30 years better than today. There were no fishes around Monrovia, around town. Now, 30 years ago or more, you had those very ministries shining and sparkling. 30 years ago, you were not seeing debt all around the city as it is today. 30 years ago, the criminal rate is not like today. 30 years ago, the mob violence that is in Monrovia and Liberia today, holistically, wasn't there. 30 years ago, our students were well seated. They were being educated. Even people were leaving from other countries coming to be educated in our country. Now, on the other hand, people will say, well, 30 years ago, we are better than 30 years ago.
That is a definition. Madam Kokwe, do you agree with the statement? 30 years ago, where is Liberia? You have a minute. You have a minute.
Yeah, so I actually do not want to, because I understood him very well. I do not want to respond to it. But this is what I want to say in few seconds. My brother Farley talked about the We Tire Suffering Rally, where we had somebody who stole 70,000 and the investigation report is yet to be out. We have to be sincere in our discussions. And this is why I told you I wanted to be very neutral. I took up my political hat and put it down. The reason I'm saying this, how can somebody sit in the studio right now and say, up to now, the investigator and the report is not out, when we made effort, CPP made effort, went to Sierra Leone with the joint security, arrested the person who stole the money, brought the person was in police custody.
Can you give me the report?
Listen, what report you want?
She's providing information.
What report you want?
Go ahead.
It's a panel discussion. So I mean, we put out a report.
So what report you want? When we went to the person who stole the money, we went to Sierra Leone. The police arrested him, turned him over to Liberia. Liberia brought him. He was at Central when President Weah made a speech while the police is going through the investigation. President Weah said CPP lied on our little board. And that day they released the ball because the president has spoken. It's like the incident that took place at the Capitol building. When the president came, the first statement that came from him, we will not accept, who the organism. So you even investigate there, you say somebody profile there. So who should be giving report? It's the government that's supposed to be giving you report, because we say this is our rogue. We went for him. He left the country. He was driving for the person who had the money when the money got missing. He left from here. He went to Sierra Leone. We went there, help to get him back to Liberia. The Sierra Leonean government handed that ball over to the Liberian government. While the police were going through the investigation, President Weah said, CPP
And then the
lied.
case was sabotaged.
But then what report you want from CPP?
Mr. Fale, let's give you 1 minute. If
What report you want from
you have
CPP?
any response.
I think
1 minute.
So when people
think-
come to talk, they should speak the fact, not just to speak
Madam, you
because
have
you
to
want to
give
speak.
Yes, you concluded now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
madam.
okay, Mr. Fale.
I want to touch a little bit.
Yes, I beg you.
Yeah,
1 minute.
just
We
for
do it
that
in
issue.
time now. We did it in time.
Yeah,
The
right.
public had a
That's fine.
call.
Yeah, no problem.
So let's go. Then we got to
The
hit the
government-
next.
the
We have to
government-
hit the next issue that the public call.
the government have made significant.
You have few seconds to respond to that.
You allow
You have few seconds.
You allow the madam to talk almost for
I mean,
two,
time
3
going,
minutes
yo.
here.
You have two.
You
two
have the
seconds.
madam to talk.
Your time is on. Your time is on.
And then you hear incompetition
Your
with
time
them,
is
So
madam.
the issue,
You see why I say I was not defeated? Because they
time-
always
issue-
want to be in competition.
Let him,
The
let him
issue-
learn. Let him learn. Go ahead.
the issue about that we have not come to discuss that the ANC and their report.
Oh.
That if the report was made, then the report was supposed to be available to the public. The issue of 30 years ago. If you say 30 years ago, Liberia was better than now. It's not something that you have to say, because at that time there was all necessary things available to the country. There were rule of law. There was everything there. As this time we fought war, and we are gradually, recalibrating,
No need
gradually
to,
developing.
no need to speak on it because you already concord with that.
Yeah.
So just go ahead. The time.
I think you are the
Please go ahead.
You are the host here.
Please go ahead.
You have to allow.
But if you
you are allowed-
compare with
I mean,
them,
I mean, the
I
emotional.
think analytically, Mr. Fale, analytically,
So to just tell you,
you are agreeing with what
Fine,
he said.
so go. Let me know.
Analytically. But
So-
let's go ahead.
So in conclusion,
Mhm.
before we get to the next topic,
Yes.
there's significant progress that the government have made.
Mhm.
In so many areas, in so many sectors. And so we agree with the government, and the government is moving progressively. And the president is living up to his commitment and the promises he made during the campaign period on his arrest agenda.
Opposition,
All right.
EFF.
All right, so let's start with you. We have 5 minutes to discuss this.
So
We'll
when
move
I-
to the line.
Can I
When
get? Can I get?
when I talk about
Let me
when I talk about
And
ANC,
then you shouldn't talk
Yeah,
about
yeah,
EFF.
just a second.
It will come from
No,
your
no, no,
minute.
no, yeah.
It will
No,
come from your minute.
What I want to say.
It will come from your minute.
What
It will come from his meeting.
Yeah.
I wanted to say.
So please clock the meeting.
Yes.
Okay, I'll plug my two. What I wanted to have said is that the issue of a political party and a government, there's a big difference. A political party that has not been given national leadership cannot be chastised and pushed to the wall as compared to the government. Now, if you are a government now in place, the mantle of authority has been given to you. The pressure will be every step you take, Liberian people will watch you. So let it not be a competitive analysis where, because even if it was not done by a political party, mean the government cannot do it.
All right.
And that has been the modus operandi of most of all. That how we switch, and that how we have an impediment when it comes
All
to
right.
development.
Madam
Your-
Kokwe,
your time.
there was a stalemate,
No, it will
an environmental political stalemate in the country over the weekend. Senator Yahya Nimle made a statement that it was because of the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, the resolution signed by the rest of the senators and representatives, for which the pressure came upon the fallen Senator Johnson, that has caused his sudden passing. So, what is your own take? What is your own take about the senator's statement? I want you to tell the Liberian people what is your take. And we get to Mr. Fale, we get to Mr. Keita, then the Liberian people can have their say. What do you make of the statement made by Yahya Nimle, Senator of Grand Jita County?
So this is me, I am who I am, and I look at things sometimes differently, completely.
You have it 1 minute 30
from,
seconds.
from people.
1 minute 30 seconds.
Yes. So for me, I really chose not to talk much about this because I feel this discussion, especially the last time I was listening to some radio stations and the way they were propounding with the issues, it's like you want to bring Grand Jita and Nima back to war. You want to bring the country back to war. So for me, I chose not to talk about it. What I would want to say is that for me, at the program, I think we made something. one of the leaders from Nimba County or even the government should have maybe say sorry to the people of Liberia, whoever Prince Johnson had offended, to say sorry to them. I listened to somebody on Spoon and I burst in tears. I felt him. He almost like was crying when he called on the show and said, today, Prince Johnson is having a very beautiful burial. My mother didn't have this. My mother doesn't have a grave. My brother doesn't have a grave, saying all of those things. I myself, I do not know my father's grave because of the war. I'm not putting it on Prince Johnson or whosoever. It was because of the war. My father died and the body was, the way it was supposed to be. I was not here, so I do not know his grave. So I thought somebody, a stakeholder of Nimba or the government would have stood up and just say sorry to the Liberian people, whoever, Prince Johnson hurt. Because like this guy who was speaking for him, he said it was in the hands of Prince Johnson that his brother died,
right.
and his brother didn't have the upper. So for me, I do not want us to continue to talk this because the Liberian people are healing every day. Every time you bring a topic up for me, it hurts me. I think about my father. I think about people who died from me. I also think about how I was treated by rebels in this country, from different sides. So I really do not want to talk. I always want to talk about the reconciliation.
Thank you very much. So the aspect of reconciliation wasn't observed at the funeral service. That is what I want to talk about. They went to unravel the wounds again.
Mr. So they're throwing jazz.
The Grand Judah senator said it was because of the signing of the resolution for which the list senator had to die. So what happened was that the government, your government, our government as a Liberian people, brought the War and Economic Crimes Code, and Prince Johnson died. What says that? What do you say to that?
I think the senator does not have the
you have 1 minute.
The senator does not have the moral qualification in terms of war and other things to talk about. The government trying to when Economic Crime Code led to Prince Johnson, and Senator Prince Johnson. There, look. The president ran on certain issues. When you follow the president throughout the campaign, he talked about making sure that people give account of what happened during the crisis, the 14 or plus year crisis in our country. And one of the major things that the Liberian people were looking for is the War and Economic Crime Code, and that was clear in the president's message across the country. For somebody to come and tell me that somebody from the government should have gone to apologize, on behalf of whom? I think the first thing we're supposed to be looking at is that Senator Johnson lived a very good life. Senator Johnson fought for the people of Nimba. Senator Johnson is, he was buried, he had a dignified burial. And for us to see a senator, one of his professional colleagues, who will go and stand on, at his burial and start to play political in the game of what the burial is supposed to be, a kind of a place where people go to sympathize, but making the political statement in order to entangle the government and to push the government back against the people in Nimba County. So Senator Nimle did not just speak because he wanted to speak as he spoke, but he spoke because he wanted to push the government, paint the government black. But look, no one in the loop and corner,
10 seconds.
No one in the loop and corner of the particular country that does not agree with the establishment of War and Economic Crime Code.
All right.
The past government spoke about the War and Economic Crime Code that they want to bring the War and Economic Crime Code. Senator Johnson supported that particular government to power. This government talk about the establishment of War and Economic Crime Code. My parents, my entire family, life backward is because of the war across the country. So there's no way that even international community will not support, even the Liberians that are here will not support the war.
All right.
So I see.
Mr. Keita,
just 10 seconds.
10 seconds. 10 seconds, yes. So the government did not, in the words of Senator Nimle, it was not the government's responsibility for Senator Johnson's death.
It was not the
Thank
government.
You.
Yes,
10 seconds.
It was not the War and Economic Crime Code.
Yes, so what I'm saying, I wanted to be clear because when he was speaking, he said for somebody to come and stand and say somebody's supposed to apologize to the government. I think he's contradicting himself because if the government means well and means the establishment of war and economic crimes court, and people believe that Senator Prince Johnson was one of the warlords. He had his reason why he took arm to fight. He made this publicly. What I am saying, what I am saying, everyone was hurt. Some people were hurt.
There should be a moment of healing.
Some people were hurt directly.
Okay.
Some people were hurt indirectly. Like me, I was hurt indirectly. But some people, like this guy who called on the radio to talk about how his brother died in the hands of Prince Johnson, right? I mean, somebody should have said
there should be a national reconciliation.
This happens even not about war and economic crime.
There cannot be true reconciliation with justice.
Yeah, you got to wrap up.
So this cannot.
Justice.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's why the government are calling for the war.
Go ahead.
So what I'm saying,
wrap up.
Everywhere, even when somebody died, somebody who didn't partake in war, some family member will say, we're sorry if he hurt you. You know, anybody who our brother or our sister or our family.
That is your point.
We want to say
that's your point.
Sorry to the people who were hurt.
And you didn't see it.
So you expect the government to
hold on.
And you see, I didn't say.
Let's go to Mr. Keita.
Yeah, you said somebody.
Let's go to Mr. Keita.
This is what no. I didn't say half.
You said it.
I didn't say half.
Let's go to Mr. Keita.
No. I didn't say half.
You said that somebody should have gone.
Now you're speaking the English. I said what I expected. What I expected a stakeholder from the government. Listen, I said a stakeholder from NIMBA or somebody from the government should have said sorry to the Liberian people. Government
and you did not see that.
So you running with justice. You running with justice.
Are you understanding yourself?
You running.
Mr. Fale,
you are running with justice.
No.
Why justice?
Why is it that particular? Why is it that politics should be paid?
Hold on, Mr. Fale. Hold on.
This was no politics.
Please go ahead.
You are saying that the government.
Please hold on.
You are saying that the government should go and apologize, or somebody should go and apologize. Meaning that Senator Johnson.
It's okay.
Senator Johnson was.
Okay.
It's okay.
No. This is why I'm saying you're not understanding yourself.
Why are you saying that?
No, you're running.
Okay, hold on. Excuse me. I have lowered your microphones. Hold on. I've lowered your microphone. Your microphone is low. I've lowered your microphone. Hold on. Your microphone is low. This is a beautiful conversation. A very beautiful conversation. Yeah. Mr. Keita.
My microphone is off too.
It's off.
Okay, that's good.
We gotta wrap up.
No, I'm sorry.
We're gonna have part two of this conversation.
This is total injustice to me, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
whenever you give the people time,
it's email crying for time. But we gotta go.
Now, let me go into the process.
Where
the issue is.
Go ahead quickly.
The issue.
What do you make of the statement? We gotta go to the lines and take few calls. And
whenever you come to me, that's when you're going for line or something going for. All right. What I want to say here, as a matter of fact, is that in every given situation, there should be a leadership. But firstly, the statement coming from Honorable Thomas Yaya Nimle, I think we should be more reconciliatory in the kind of situation as compared to some of those statements. What statement does, it incites, it gives people mixed feeling, as a matter of fact. You understand? And then there is no good side of statement that will inflame situation.
All right.
So in this case, for me, he has his right to speak to situations. I'm not going to infringe on that right. As a matter of fact, that is constitutional right.
All right.
Because he will be liable for whatever statement he made. But then, as for now, I think the most reconciliatory person in this place and authority should be the government and the president of the Republic of Liberia. The reason is very simple.
Yeah, just give the reason.
The reason is very simple. what today the entire Liberia is on the head of this president and the government, as a matter of fact, and that's why some of us will not be sycophantic. We will be realistic to help this government to be successful. We will not come when they're going wrong. We say you're going wrong because we want to be seen as a person who is defending. That's why Liberian people good at. They're good at eye services. They present themselves very well.
All right.
And make it look like everything is fine. When it is not fine.
All right.
I say most of us Liberians.
Okay.
But you seem to portray one here.
Okay. So the numbers to call.
Let me come to
the numbers to call at 077.
I come in.
That's what I want.
So what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
the government, as a matter of fact, because anything bad that happens here, they will be holding the government. People will be looking forward to the government. Anything good that happens, the government is going to carry the good name.
Okay.
So in that case, if you are the father of the home,
The government should take responsibility.
the responsibility I'm talking about to make sure when there are a flim
To
situation
reconcile
the Liberian people.
Thank you.
Let them make some reconciliatory statement so that tension can calm down, because we look forward to this government to make sure that we live good and perfect.
0777 107 0777 107, or better still 0777 221 223. There are 3 panelists, and we're talking about different national issues. We just take few calls because of time, and we'll be out of here. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hurry up quickly. What's your name and where you call from?
Good afternoon. My name is Festus Plummer. I'm calling from Central Morovia.
Yes, go ahead quickly, very quickly. We're out of time.
Thank you. I want to speak on the issue of Prince Johnson. Look, my brother, the fact of the matter is Prince Johnson was one of the former warlords and he hurt people. And the reality of life is Prince Johnson is now more Liberian than any other person. Prince Johnson hurt people. I do want to agree with the sister in Syria that I myself, I can tell you I got hurt by Prince Johnson. Sincerely speaking, I will tell you this. What I expected for the family of Prince Johnson or for any other circle to just come up publicly and be able to apologize in behalf of Prince Johnson to the Liberian people. My people, we are sorry for what our son did, what our father did, what our uncle did, whosoever person he hurt. We say sorry, and that just
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For freedom.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much. We got to take other callers. Welcome. What's your name?
Yeah, good afternoon, Washington Police Captain.
Go ahead quickly, my brother. No time.
Thank you very much. My name is Aliyu Patikoman, MPK family. I call my running car. You know, Washington, I miss it. Thanks to the Madam Institute, Madam Petrola Tolu Kokoi, or expose your national issue. Madam, for long year of voice, like you need to come back and Mago. You got people like here who need.
We'll bring her back. Let's go ahead to the issue, my brother. No time. Hello. You see the lame meaning he got to use. He didn't use it wisely. Let's get this person. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Go ahead. Lawrence, your line is bad.
Definitely. You getting me now?
Yeah, go ahead quickly, my brother. No time. We got to go back to our studio. No.
You very strike a point at which I'm very welcome that point. 30 years, Liberia was better. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Liberia was better. You are not many pieces. People were not born like people coming from under the ground, born just unnecessarily. That means I was taking it just back and forth. Look at it. The young man is right. This is what I call
Thank you very much. Let's take this person. Hope with our last caller. Welcome. What's your name and where you call from?
Hey, pleasant afternoon. How you doing?
Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, thank you for starting the question. I'm Ambassador Divine Siapo, and I call from district number 16.
Go ahead quickly, sir.
Okay, I just want to contribute towards the Tony, but what I want to say is that our general guys are in Tito. I think they need to do their best because I understand that the bulk of their criticism is just on the government, but if you understand that opposition they are not doing well for this country because their criticism that they are giving to this government is just unbalanced. They will never come out to say what is government doing best, but they will always want to see bad for this government.
All right.
And then who support it is the Liberian people.
Thank you very much. Let's leave the call lines. Let's get to you. No, I'm sorry. I'm not taking calls. Please, I'm not taking calls. I'm sorry.
Can you start from me this time?
Yes.
All right. Yes. 1 minute.
So
1 minute. 1
good.
minute.
Well, firstly,
opposition solidarity.
firstly,
1 minute. Yeah. 1 minute. Please, we're out of time. Totally out of time. Let's go. Yes.
some of you worse than opposition. You're in the system, then you're misleading people. Then something happened. So you are worse than opposition.
Well, and let me just announce, we're going to have a part 2 of this conversation.
Very well. Very well. But this man is worse than opposition.
Go ahead.
Well, what I want to say here
1 minute.
clearly is that to tell us at the last caller to say that we're criticizing government, that's not true, because we are also affiliated with this government, as a matter of fact. Right. That's why we analyze the good things they have been doing, including the Josiah Joker issue that I mentioned.
Yes.
And I said there are some lapses too. So if you look at that, if you think I will be like my brother Patrick here that will say everything is all right, then we make a mistake, because I will talk about the positivity and I will talk about the negativity. As for Patrick, everything will be good practically. So I want to say here that this is the problem we are facing in this country. When people vote for you or when they go for you, whatever you've done is fine, it's good. And that's being very sycophantic and hypocritical. And that's why Liberia is always the way it is. Like it happened in the past government. Everything was always fine in the CDC government. And we were there speaking to people that this is not fine, this is fine, and we'll also come a recommendation. Okay. So I hope even if you are in government, when the wrong thing is being done, you can present it, but present it in a very respectful manner.
We will have a part 2
so that there can be an improvement in that system.
Madam Kokwe,
thank you very much.
Madam Kokwe, let's hear you. 1 minute.
Oh, okay. I want to say thank you to the callers. I think out of the 4 or 5 callers, I think every one of them commended us for our what we came to say and what our analysis. And I want to say somebody talk about when the opposition, those guys in studio, I think we were fair, we were balanced. So in fact, people who know Victoria Tolo Kokwe, they didn't see the real Victoria Tolo Kokwe today. So I was really balanced. It's because when I came to the studio, I said, I'm removing my political hat and I will sit as a citizen of Liberia to analyze. And I gave a fair understanding of my understanding that yes, it is not too soon, but for me, I don't think it is actually the point where we should just criticize. It is good to criticize, but I don't think it is the point to just criticize. We talk about some of the lapses, and the most important lapses right now is the rule of law. Once there is lawlessness, that society will not be settled.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick.
The government have made significant strides in most of the areas you talk about during her campaign promises to the Liberian people. And if my brother could sit here to say that I say everything is okay, then he did not do me just, because we talk about the rule of law, there are challenges in it. How can everything be okay when I talk about the rule of law with challenges in it? So the government is investing in constructing roads and also
let him go ahead. We're already out now. We're already out.
You just told me that this is how we behave, but I think you behaving more than what we
go ahead, Mr. Pali.
And so the Unity Party government is doing extremely well. It has started, and we believe, we hopeful after the Sonan address to the people that 2025 there will be more construction rules into the Leeward counties and other areas, affecting the arrest agenda, and also investing into agriculture and making Liberia self-sufficient in terms of food production. And we're making sure that the country continue to remain as it is and be stable for everybody across the country. The government makes significant strides. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, they were my guests. Wonderful and beautiful people.